Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar with Nemanja Introduction. My name is Vicente Loschmidt, and it's my pleasure to welcome you today to the webinar. We're incredibly excited to get going, and so great to see so many of you already here in the webinar room with us. Before we get started, I wanted to go over a couple of key points. The first of all being that everyone, all of the registrants here today, all of the attendees, are receiving a small gift from BenQ, which is a 10% discount code on all of our BenQ designer and photography monitors. And this will be valid until the 25th of April, so for 2 weeks. You'll be receiving that a bit later in the webinar, along in the email that we'll be sending right after the webinar as well. And the second note that I wanted to bring to your attention is if you look here on the right side of your screen, you can see a little pod that has a bunch of different links listed in it. You can see here we have photography monitors, designer monitors, upcoming webinars. Throughout the whole webinar, you'll see here all of these links where you can also access Nemanja's profile as well. For those of you who don't know about Nemanja's work, you definitely should get to know it. But you can see here also we have an offer for a 1 year free of Pantone Connect Premium. These links will be here throughout the entire webinar as well for you to check out. And yeah, so moving on to the webinar itself. For those of you who don't know, BenQ has 2 lines of monitors built for photographers and for designers. We have the PD series, which is for designers, and we have the SW series, which is for photographers. These monitors are built from the ground up to cater to the needs of designers and photographers. If you've ever been working with art before, you know that you need color accurate monitors when you're working. You need color accurate displays when you're working with your artwork, when you want to deliver an artwork to a client, for example, or you need to work on something, one of your personal projects. Having color correct monitors is one of the most important tools that you can have in at your disposal. And the monitors come with really a host of features really built in mind for designers and photographers. The PD series, as we just showed here in the video, also are really built from the ground up for the Mac, for the whole Mac ecosystem. For those of you who are Mac users, it could be worth checking out one of the PD series monitors. And we always encourage everyone to not to take our word for it, but to really look online to check the reviews for yourself. We've always been thrilled by hearing all of the fantastic feedback we get from professional designers, but also from hobby designers as well about their experience with BenQ. Moving on to the man of the hour, Nemanja Sekulic. Nemanja is one of our BenQ ambassadors, and we're thrilled to have him on board with us. Nemanja has an incredible YouTube channel with over 500,000 subscribers, with over 6 years of experience on YouTube and over 10 years outside of YouTube. Really has an incredible energy, has an incredible, huge, vast knowledge database in his mind, really for Photoshop. And we're so thrilled to have him with us here today. Without further ado, I don't want to keep all of you waiting because I know you're ready to go. I'd like to invite Nemanja to the stage, and we'll have a Q&A section at the very end of the session as well, where you can ask Nemanja all of your questions.
Now you can hear me. Okay, hello everybody. I'm not sure if everything is okay because I don't have feedback, but Vicente, please let me know if you can hear me and you can see me. Everything is okay?
Yep, looks and sounds great.
Perfect, because your webcam wasn't visible, at least to me.
Yes, I was only on microphone today.
Okay, perfect. So welcome to this webinar. I'm glad to see you all here. I'm seeing the participants here, but you can only see me. For you guys who are seeing me for the first time, Vicente already did a great introduction. I'm in love with photo manipulation, Photoshop, and also all other softwares that I can use to create interesting photo manipulation. And today we will talk about how you can improve your photo manipulation and improve the expand the possibilities of creation, to create whatever you can imagine using few other tools, for example, Blender and 3D models, 3D objects to implement in your photo manipulations. And before we start, first, what I like to ask you is, at what level are you with photo manipulation? Here's a little poll that Vicente will now share on the screen. And you have around 30 seconds, be fast, but be precise, not to click on something that is not your answer. So I'm joking, click whatever you want. So I just want to see how many people here are beginners and how many people here are not beginners. So let's see. Oh, we have some professionals here and not small amount. And let's see. Okay, so I don't know if the results are shared, but Vicente, if you share the results, this is cool. There are a lot of people who are just starting, okay, and some professionals. Just to have in mind what I will talk about, that's great feedback. So basically, for you guys who are beginners and who just started and haven't started yet, I just want to tell a little bit background story of what photo manipulation is. And let me share you my screen here. Just a second. Okay. Window, screen, and voila, this is it. So you should see now Blender, but that will come later. You don't want to see the chords, you want to see something else, because I'm playing guitar, so I have some chords online. Okay, so this is my website and some photo manipulation. So basically, photo manipulation is a technique, to say like that, of creating using several elements from other photos, or making some other elements, taking your photo. So basically grabbing several different elements to be able to create another artwork that will tell a story. For example, like this one, this is a fairy tale story from Grimm Brothers, and I made this for some book cover for kids book. And any kind of photo manipulation is really cool to create. It should tell some kind of a story, but at the end, in order to create realistic photo manipulation, you should follow a few basic rules. I like to say that I will leave it like this, just to watch my front page of my portfolio here. So basically, photo manipulation, in order to get realistic results, you should follow 3 different rules. And first rule that I like to always take care of is to make sure that all the elements that you're using in image share the same perspective. So let me tell you a little bit more that you can imagine. Imagine a room. So you have a room and you have a chair in the middle of the room, and you have a guy who's sitting on that chair and reading newspaper, for example. And you have your camera, mobile phone, whatever, your camera, and you take a photo of that room. So if you extract the chair, the room, the guy, the newspaper, everything will have the same perspective, because everything is shot with same camera, same lens, same focal length, from the same angle, etc. So when you're combining photos into a final product, into photo manipulation, you need to think like that. So you cannot take a photo of a room, for example, with wide angle lens, 24 mil or 16 mil, and then take a photo of a guy with 50 mil and then combine that together. Or take a photo of a room from down below and then stand a little bit more up and take a photo of a guy. It will not fit. It will look really fake. So you don't want that. You really want to put everything in the same perspective. Another thing is lights. All the lights in the scene needs to share the same settings. So they need to be from the same position, the same type of light. Either this is a harsh light or soft light or colored light, gel light, different types of light, etc. So sometimes you can do similar things and then fake it in Photoshop, but the better is if you can manage everything as close as the original For example, you have a room and you have the lamp from left side and some big soft light from the front, and then you need to take a photo of your guy that you want to put in that room. Exactly the same. You need one light from the left, one big soft light from the front, and then everything will be cool. So take a look at this photo right here. Basically, this is a photo that I made for my father, who is unfortunately left this world a few years ago. But he was a doctor and he loved to read books, and I made this photo. I dedicated to him. It's a huge library, and he's sitting here like Cerebro from X-Men. So that was like an inspiration. And basically, I had this light going from here and few lights from front, etc. But this is the harsher light here, and I replicate that in the studio and just put him on, sit on a chair, and just extract him out of the background and put him here, and he fit perfectly because it's so easy when you nail the perspective and the lights. And the third thing is color. So all the elements in the scene needs to have to share the same color palette. So at the end, you need to color correct every single element to fit the same color palette, and then the whole scene will look like it belongs. Everything belongs there, and it will be realistic. So there is a color theory that is involved there. A lot of people didn't even heard about color theory and which colors are pairing good with which colors, what are complementary triad colors, so etc. I have a lot of these tutorials for free on my YouTube channel. You can check it out if you already didn't. And also, there are a lot of mistakes. People are using different colors that are totally not going well together, and they're wondering why their photo manipulations are looking bad. Everything is good, but if colors are off, everything is off. So that's not good. But now that you know what are three important rules in photo manipulations and how photo manipulations are made in theory, so grabbing different elements, putting them together, and you have this. You have, for example, this kind of photo. I will talk about the other approach, how you can expand your classical photo manipulation skills by applying some 3D elements. For example, like this photo that you can see here, everything is 3D except my father and the book he's holding in his hand. So everything else is made in Cinema 4D in this case. It doesn't matter which software will you use. All softwares are based on the same principles: how to model, how to light, how to shade it, how to render it, and so on and so forth, how to animate it, etc. So they're all similar. Every software has its own cons and pros, but today I will talk about Blender. Before that, I just want to tell you that whenever I'm doing some project for clients, I always like to take my own photos. Yes, there are a lot of photos online that you can get for free, or some paid stock website that you can even have a greater database of photos that you can find and create photo manipulations out of that. But I love to take my own photos, especially because I'm a photographer, and also I enjoy in that making everything by myself and controlling the light, controlling the scene, and so on and so forth. But also, as you can see here, all these photos are made in not this, but this including something from a 3D. There's some 3D involved here, but more or less depends of photo. So this is not a 3D. This is real thing. This guy hit me so hard. Don't ask me about this. But this one wheel, I made it also in 3D. And today we will talk about this famous 3D software, Blender, finally. And before we jump into it, another poll for you guys. I really like to see how many of you are familiar with 3D in general. So at what level are you with 3D? Again, Vicente will pull up the poll here, and let's see what people have to say. Okay, I will give you a few more seconds, and then we will see together the results. Okay. Okay, let's share the results. So I don't know if you can see it right now, but mostly they're people who never started and just started with 3D. So that's perfect because I will talk about some basics and how to use 3D software, especially Blender, in this photo manipulation pipeline, to say like that. Okay, so this is how Blender looks. But before we jump into Blender, I just want to let you know why I decided to switch to Blender. In the past, I used Cinema 4D, and I have one really good friend who is expert in VFX, 3D, everything about that. He is like has in a small finger. When I asked him how to do that, he said, "Oh, that's Kessa. That's really easy." So that's nothing. But actually, when you're starting 3D, everything seems really hard and tedious, and there's so many things to explore and to get used to it, because it's totally different than Photoshop. For every beginner who start to learn Photoshop, seems maybe like a hard software. But when you get know the basic things and get know the tools, the Photoshop really isn't that hard at all. 3D seems even harder because in 3D you need to model something. So let me show you here. Let's open another instance of Blender. Okay, and yeah, let's open one spaceship here. So you need to model this, and that's one thing. Then you need to put the textures here that you can see. Then when you want to render, you need to put the lights. And let me see here. So there are no lights here. So I will now put, for example, sunlight, and let's go like this. Sunlight. So you can choose the angle, the orientation, etc. So you need to put lights. It's like in the real world, you're in a studio. Depends on how you position the lights and what kind of lights, soft, hard, colored lights, you will have different moods, etc. And then you need to render this out and to go to Eevee or Cycles. There are two different render engines here in Blender, but you need to go through all of that. Now Blender is calculating things here, don't worry, in order to produce an image. So it seems like it's a lot, but actually it's a lot. But don't be discouraged by that, because once when you get know the basics, you can do a lot of great things here. What I really like about Blender here, which I will demonstrate you today, is that, let's go back to my website, and what I want to tell you is that, for example, let's look at this photo right here. You can really easily model something, like I modeled this robot and these small robots here, and the robot on her shoulder here, and position it, light it, and set the proper camera in Blender. And then when you render this out as a separate PNG file or whatever you want, you can really easily just drag and drop in your background. So here, what you're seeing here is just a photo that I took when I was in France, in Avignon. This tree and everything else except these robots and myself here. I was put myself in. I took the self-portrait in the studio, and this girl here. But the background is real photo, and I just drag and drop the robot, and the shadows and everything is from Blender, and I will demonstrate that. Something is off here, but it doesn't matter. We have our spaceship here, and also what I want to show you here is that why Blender? Why not Cinema 4D? I was using Cinema 4D, and I switched to Blender, or maybe 3D Studio Max, or maybe Maya, or other softwares. Well, because first of all, Blender is completely free. So whatever you can do in Cinema 4D, so I made this in Cinema 4D a few years ago, you can exactly the same thing model in Blender. Really cool thing now that I pull out this photo. Real cool thing about this photo is that everything is 3D except the girl's head and arms. Also, the dress is not real. We had an issue. The model didn't have a proper dress. We couldn't get a proper dress on a photo shooting. And then I took a photo of her in some dress that she brought with her, but I didn't like it at all. And you have the breakdown of this at my also website, but on YouTube too. Basically, then I modeled the girl's dress in 3D. So in this case, I was using Marvelous Designer, a software that is dedicated to like for sewing the clothes and things like that. It's really easy to do that. It maybe seems hard, but it's really easy. It's basically like cloth simulation. And then we put at the top of the model and everything else is made. So you can do so many things. You can model whatever you want in 3D. Also, the Batman here, Batman is not made in Blender or Cinema 4D. Batman and these gargoyles, lions, are made in software that is called ZBrush. ZBrush is a software that is made for sculpting practically, and some hard surface modeling, but practically for sculpting. So it's like you're using a clay and just some tools and sculpt something out of a clay. And that's really easy. At least for me, that was much easier to do, to model the Batman as a sculpting than to model the Batman with regular modeling techniques in Cinema 4D or Maya or Blender and so on and so forth. And maybe if you're starting with 3D, maybe you can try sculpting because it's a little bit easier, at least for you don't need to worry about some things, but we will come to that. And so on and so forth. So in order to create all of these photos, I was always using few different softwares. So Marvelous Designer, ZBrush, Blender, Cinema 4D, whatever. But now with the Blender, here, first of all, Blender is free, completely free. You don't need to pay a cent. This is why I switched from Cinema 4D to Blender, because I was paying the subscription there, especially the render engines, the engine that compute all of these things together for you, the lights, the materials, the shapes, etc., and produce the final image. So these render engines are not free. So Octane, you need to pay a subscription. Arnold, V-Ray, Redshift, there are a lot of different render engines, and all of them are similar. They're working the same thing, but they're similar how they calculate the lights bouncing, and a lot of other things, and giving you more or less photorealistic results. But Blender has two different render engines. It has Eevee and Cycles, and Eevee can be like a real-time render engine because it needs less computing power because it's functioning differently. But Cycles is, we can say, it's a photorealistic render engine. So I'm always using Cycles when I want to create something that is photorealistic, how the lights are bounced in the scene, and so on and so forth. So there are two different render engines. Then you have here at the top, you have different work spaces. So you can model in Blender. You have modeling layout, but still you have this default, which is the same. You can sculpt in Blender. So you can use all the tools that you can use in ZBrush, and you can create that Batman, or let me show really quickly here. Where is it? Where you can create something like this. This is also 3D, but this, I sculpt these bodies of Green Lantern and Sinestro, me and my friend. Of course, I don't have this kind of body, but no, this is made in ZBrush. Then these trash can and this thing right here, I forgot the name, the English word, is made in Cinema 4D. So these are models. And also this is 3D model, and everything else is just the photo that I took when I was in Berlin shooting something for a client, and I take opportunity to shoot backgrounds for myself. But again, few different softwares, and everything else is combined at the end in Photoshop. So now you can do all of this in Blender. Here you can sculpt, then you can animate it, then you can do a composition. When you have a final image, you have a composition tab, so you can do a compositing things here that you need normally additional software for that, and so on and so forth. There are so many things that Blender combines together, and it's unbelievable that it's completely free. Also, one encouraging thing for you guys who are completely new to Blender, there are some add-ons that will make your life much easier in modeling and texturing and a lot of things doing in 3D that you can purchase or get for free. And the Blender add-ons are really not that cheap. They're not that expensive. They're really cheap or moderate, depends on what you consider cheap, but in 3D world, they're really cheap. So for example, you can find add-ons $1, $2, $5, $10, amazing add-ons. But also you can find some serious add-ons for scattering the trees, populating the scene with the trees, with the grass, with flowers, plants, etc. for $100. But you're paying that price once, and you have always new updates, which is amazing, and so on and so forth. I don't want to bother you too much with that. And also there is a great website. There's a lot of great websites, but for example, what I like is cgtrader.com, this website right here. And you can buy a GoPro cam now. And you can download 3D models from here. There are some paid 3D models, there are some free 3D models, and also you can, let's see, aircrafts. And you can go here to format. So for example, you can just search for Blender files, and you can just go free, and you can download all these models. There are 23 pages of totally free models. So if you need a plane, here it is. You can get this plane or any other plane. Just download it for free and put it in here, and you have it. You can rotate it, position it however you want, put any kind of lighting, any kind of background, make really dramatic scene, make really cartoony scene, whatever. The possibilities are really endless. And also this model here, this spaceship, it's not mine. I didn't make it. I got it from CG Trader here. So also materials. If you don't want to, or you don't know yet how to make your own materials, some bricks, some dirt, some stones, some rocks, whatever, plastic, I don't know, whatever, you can get some free materials. There are great database of free materials, but also you can get some premium paid materials. Also the lighting. So let me show really quickly here. If I go to here and choose environment texture and open this and choose HDRI maps, which are basically spherical photos that will light your scene like in real life, and choose, I don't know, let's choose this desert, it doesn't matter. And now my spaceship is lit with that. So if I go, let me just quickly, yeah. So if I go all around, you can see the desert and everything, and you can see how the spaceship is lit with that light. And there are so many free HDRI maps, so you can really easily do that. So let me show you here. I just need to go to preferences and add-ons and add node wrangler. There are so many plugins in Blender that are disabled, and you can choose if you want to use it or not, but this node wrangler is something that I think should be on by default. And now I can rotate. So for example, I put a camera and I want this view of a spaceship, but I don't want this kind of orientation of the lighting and the background. So I can really easily rotate the lighting and see how it's affected on a spaceship. Hopefully you can see this properly. Also, if you want this kind of lighting, but you don't want this background, and you want to put the spaceship in different environment that is similar to this one, but you want to put in Photoshop, no problem at all. Just go and disable background, so you have just the spaceship. See how beautiful and easy it is. And amazing thing is that everything is for free. I mean, the software and possibilities that when you learn, you can make. You can create whatever you can imagine. And in that way, let's go back here, for example. In that way, you need rock monsters, lava monster, easy to create. You need these robots from War of the Worlds, easy to create. You need something that you cannot find the proper photos, just create. Dune worms, 3D, just create. Definitely, like any other software, you need to invest a little bit of the time and learn some basic steps. I will show you how to model in Blender in a moment. Bear with me, but just wanted to let you know that the possibilities are really endless. So, for example, these small spaceships, to say, in this photo, I model it literally in a couple of minutes. This is really easy to model this kind of spaceships, but also this is done with displacement maps, different story, but really easy. Maybe few clicks to create something like that. There are also these kind of cities, not so hard to create, just basic modeling tools. Also, this is not a 3D. Also, this road here is obviously made in 3D because I couldn't create this in real life. Yeah, I could make a model of it from cardboard, etc., and then do some things in Photoshop. But for me, it's easy to do in 3D. 3D is amazing for any of you guys who want to create anything that you can imagine and you don't have painting skills, because there are so many great artists that has amazing painting skills that they can draw realistic, photorealistic drawings, and they can draw whatever they can imagine. But unfortunately, I'm not one of them, and I need different tools. So this guy right here, dangerous pieces. The jetpack here is made in 3D also, really easy to create. So before we jump into a 3D modeling, to show just the basic examples how you can create something really simple and put it on the photo. Now that I'm looking these photos and these colors, etc., there are a lot of people who are always send me these kind of messages like, oh, I see the photo of my monitor is really nice. I nailed the colors, but then I sent to my friend, they're different colors. Or I see on my phone, they're different colors. Or I sent to a client said, oh, this is too much yellow. I want a little bit more towards the green, etc. I don't know what to do. And then there is a famous question: what do you use to edit your photos on? What do you use to edit your photos on? So what kind of device is that? A laptop screen or some monitor, professional monitor, etc. And I also want to ask you guys here, what are you using? So Vicente will pop the poll here. And what do you edit your images with? Give me here your votes. I just want to let you know about some important things in any kind of workflow, either Photoshop, 3D, Illustrator, drawing, whatever, especially if you're doing that for a client. So let's see. Okay, so majority of you are using laptops, then regular monitors, then professional monitors. For you guys who are editing on laptops, that's the worst thing you can do, except you have maybe some really expensive laptops with amazing screens. But I have currently this laptop here with the webcam that you're watching me is MacBook Pro M1 Max. So it's amazing laptop, but still I don't edit on the MacBook. I edit on this monitor right here. So this is a BenQ monitor, obviously because I am ambassador for BenQ. But when I was first introduced to BenQ monitors, before I even become an ambassador, I was amazed by the quality and the sharpness and color precision, etc. So I'm telling you this from my heart. I don't care if I'm ambassador. I'm not obligated to tell you just like a commercial. I'm telling you because I tried a lot of different monitors, and whoever asks me for the monitor, I always say I can swear in BenQ monitors because they're amazing, especially PD and SW series. And monitors in general are probably the most important tool in image editing, because you don't want to miss your colors, especially if you're doing something for a client. You want your yellow to be yellow, not greenish yellow or bluish yellow. You want to be straight yellow. So in order to have that, you want to have proper monitor. Also, not just about colors, but also because of the health. I, for example, spending around 12 hours every single day. That's enormous. I'm not a good example, but I am spending around 12 hours in front of monitors, and I don't have any kind of eye strains, pain in the eyes, headaches, etc. But I know few of my friends who had problems, and they always have like dry eyes and some headaches, etc. And one of my friends who actually asked me which monitor to purchase, and I told him to purchase one of the BenQ PD series, because he's doing design things. SW series is amazing for professional photographers, for photo editing. PDs for professional designers. And after a couple of days of using it, he called me with a smile on his face. He was so happy, like, hey man, I can work whole day without any kind of issues that I had before. I don't have headaches. My eyes are okay. That's perfect. That's because of how BenQ monitors are designed to also, they're thinking about our health. And the color accuracy is amazing. The sharpness is amazing. Every single monitor comes calibrated straight from the factory, so don't need to worry about that. And there are so much benefits. You have the a review of few monitors at my YouTube channel. So if you're up to it, you can check the full reviews. And if you're thinking about buying professional monitors, don't look further than BenQ. Trust me, I'm telling you from my heart as a professional artist. And also, they have some amazing thing like this hotkey pack, which is like a remote control for monitors. And now I cannot show you this because you're seeing just the photo that the software produced. But in a real life, for example, I can switch easily just with the press of a button from Adobe RGB to sRGB or to black and white, which I'm using all the time. No matter if I'm using Photoshop, 3D, or whatever software, I like to switch to black and white for my eyes to rest from the colors. If I'm if I'm looking into the colors too much, and then I cannot properly decide which colors are great, which are not. So black and white, lightsaver. Also, black and white is amazing when you want just to concentrate on light, shapes, not colors, and about luminosity values, etc. So I always do that trick, especially when I'm editing everything in Photoshop. But there are so different modes, etc. Also now, as Vicente told you at the beginning, there is really a nice discount, 10% off in next 2 weeks. So you can use the coupon code that you can see here on the screen right now, and take that advantage and grab your monitor. You will not regret. You will be hyped what kind of piece of hardware you have in front of yourself. Trust me, they're really well designed. So now that we covered that really important step, let's jump in the Blender and let me show you some basic principles of 3D modeling. Let me introduce to Blender a little bit, and maybe you will have the desire to learn it. So this is Blender, amazing software. A commercial for Blender. They should pay me. No. Okay, so this is a basic setup. When you open the Blender and go to new file, general, I don't want to save this, and you see this cube. So this is something. Yeah, you see this cube, and that's the default cube in Blender, and also comes with one light and one camera. So I usually don't use these lights and camera, and I can start with the cube. Cube is in the middle of center. We have X, Y, and Z axis. Z is upside down, and also here you have Z, Y, and X, and you can use this gizmo to rotate if you're using the Blender or laptop and you're using trackpad, then you should use this. But otherwise, you should invest in a mouse, any kind of mouse with a scroll wheel here. That's it. Because with the scroll wheel, you can zoom in, zoom out, and do a lot of other useful things in Blender. Then here we have other tools like move tool, and let's select this move tool so you can move this however you want. Then we have rotate tool, so you can rotate on the desired axis, or if you go to this, you can rotate however you want. And also we have this scale tool, so you can scale this on certain axes and scale on all axes, or just on X or Y, etc. And let me just reset this really quickly. And you have a few other tools. We will not go in that. So basically, what I like to do and how I like to do work in any software because of the speed, I like to use keyboard shortcuts. So keyboard shortcut, and G if I want to move, R if I want to rotate, S if I want to scale. So everything is logical. S for scale, R for rotation, and G for move because of G-force. Now, I don't know why it's G, but it's G. It's not M. M is for something else, for making collections, for moving things into collections. Okay. And in order to model anything, the really important thing is to visualize what you want to model. And also what helps a lot is to have a reference image. Also, it helps if you have a reference image from front and the side, or even back, or whatever of the thing that you want to model. There are a lot of techniques how you can model something. We'll not go through that. This is just the basics, what I want to show here. But what is identical with any software is that when you go to edit mode here, every single object in 3D space has three things. Has vertices, these points right here. So these points that we can move, they are vertices. This is one vertex. This is like two vertices, etc. So you can move them however you want, and in that way manipulate the shape of the object. Then we have the edges. So also we can move the edges and like that change the shape. And we have faces or polygons, faces, these things right here, sides of the, but in this case they're sides. But if we go like this and subdivide this, make more faces, now yeah, we have again 6 sides. But if we go here, we have plenty of faces here. So also vertices, we have now here some vertices that we can move and change the shape, etc. So these are 3 things that every single 3D software has: vertices, edges, and faces. And by manipulate all of these things, I don't say, you can create whatever you want. Now, so today we will use, let's undo this. Here you can see this, you can see what I'm using my mouse, left, right, left buttons, and also keyboard shortcuts, so you can follow along with. So let's reset this, or maybe easier, just delete cube and go with new cube. Okay, today we'll create really cute rocket out of cube. So we will create something that is oval, but it's out of cube. So let me show you really quickly what I mean by that. I'm on the wrong tab. So cube 3D rocket. All right, so we will create something like this type of rockets. See, this thing. There are a lot of different designs, but we'll create anything that came up to my mind while I'm doing this. And let me show you how fun it is to create something. It's not also hard at all. And let's start. We have a cube. So what I like to do, I like to go to the items, and I want to go here to dimensions. And now everything is in meters. That's default in Blender, where you can change this in inches, whatever you want. So I just want to go to z-axis to 6 meters, 6 by 2 by 2. And also, you can press 1, 3, or 7 to go to the front, right, and top view. Also, if you hold control, you can go to bottom, left, and back. That's it. So I will go to the side view. It's orthographic view. Don't ask me too much. It's view without depth. It's too much for beginner, but there are a lot of fun things here that we will cover today. So this is a side view, basically a silhouette of a model. And what I like to do is to go, how I'm navigating here, I'm pressing the middle mouse button, as you can see here, and just rotating it. I want to go to edit mode, so here, object, edit, in order to have access to these polygons, vertices, and edges. And I want to make the rocket pointy, like this. So the rocket should be pointy. And in order to do that, I will scale this down, but this looks bad. So before that, I want to add an edge loop. So here I'm adding another edge. And then I can go and make this pointy. And this looks not so bad. Also, if I select this edge right here, I can press S and then scale it. And this is a basic shape of our rocket. But what is missing? We're missing like a roundness. So how can we make like a really cool round rocket out of cube? It's crazy, but it's not, because we will do something that is called subdivisions. We will add more elements here, subdivide the surface of this cube practically. And I will not go now too much into technical stuff. Blender is making an average between two different vertices, adding another one and averaging it, and then curves the edges, but we will not go too much technical. But how to do that? Here we have a lot of cool tabs for tools. So this wrench tool is for modifiers. There are plenty of modifiers. You can bend, twist, reshape, do a lot of crazy things, project, and so on and so forth. But we will use this subdivision surface modifier. And with that modifier, see, it's automatically changing the shape, adding twice as more in between vertices and creating this. But also, I want to add 2. And looks like this. So looks like this. And this is not smooth at all. One thing that is really important in 3D space is that if the more faces, this face, wait, let me apply this to show. This is non-destructive workflow. So we can add even more faces here, but like in Photoshop, we can always go back and change to 1 or 2 levels or 3 levels and maximum to 6. So until we apply this, we can always switch back and forth. So I need to apply it, just to let you know something. The more of these faces you have, or the more vertices you have, the more edges you have, the harder is for render engine to calculate all of the things that are going on at the surface, and the render time will be slower. And also, if you are going and in cycles in a real, we want to see something in real life now we are in Eevee, but it doesn't matter in cycles also. Now it's everything is nothing like a real time, because we don't have lights, we don't have materials, we don't have nothing. So if you want to see a real-time preview, everything will be slower just because of that. So let me just undo this a few times to get back to our modifier here. And there is a trick. I will right-click and shade smooth. Or right-click is W, don't ask me why, because I choose these kind of settings. Blender is one of the tools that you can choose between left or right mouse click as the default action button. So left is like normal, like you used to with left mouse button. Right mouse button is for menu, left one is for clicking it. But this was how Blender introduced itself. So he separate the selection with the action. So with the right mouse button, you're selecting things, and with the left mouse button, you're doing the actions. But I get used to it. There is no right and wrong thing, however you want. I found out that the right mouse button for the selection is giving me faster workflow. Maybe just I get used to it, I don't know. There is no wrong thing. So we are faking it, And don't ask me what I'm doing here, too much information for beginner, but we are faking the roundness, because if we go shade flat, this is how it actually looks, but we are faking it. That is really nice. If you see, we are still having those jagged edges, but the preview is really nice. Okay, so this should be a rocket, and I will add another edge loop right here and move it down just to have this really cool and flatten the bottom below. Then I will choose this polygon, insert it a little bit and extrude it inside, just to make like the inside part here, and I will leave it like that. And also I will cut this, I will add edge loop here in order to make this more flat. Okay, so this looks cool for now. And let's see, the shape of the rocket looks cool, not bad. Maybe we can go with this edge right here and just maybe make it. It's completely optional. The shape of the rocket is completely optional, however you want. Okay, like that. And then I will apply this. Now it's destructible way of thinking. I will apply this because I want to do something else now. I want to add a few more cuts. I want to add one cut here. And let's see. Here, I don't need to add cut. I want to just make like a top of the rocket, add a little bit detail. Maybe I can do this with this one, but I like it. I want to straighten this up so I can go with scale on Z-axis, only on Z-axis, and press 0 to zero out everything what is on Z-axis, like tick, 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 everything will be in 0 coordinate, so in local coordinate. Okay, this is it. And now I will select this one and Control Shift, select this. Come on, this one and this one and this one. Why not? And add the bevel. What is a bevel? A long story, but I will add even more of these. See? And with the mouse wheel, I can add more or less this subdivision here. And this is why the mouse is really cool, because you can really easily go and add this. With the trackpad is really painful. So I will make it like this, really tiny. You will see why. And then I will select only this line in the middle by holding Alt or Option key on a Mac, and it will loop the selection around. So I want that. And also for others, I want this. Oh yeah, I need to hold Shift. And I will want this. And let's go right here. And I want not this, this. Perfect. So let's see. And what I like to do now is I want to push them a little bit in along the normals. So basically, I want to push them in. And this is X-ray, so I can see through. So we have X-ray mode, and we have the wireframe mode, so I can see just wireframe here. So I like to turn it out now. And if I press Alt and S, I can go inside or outside and push it a little bit in like this. Or I can scale it without that, so I will push it just straight in. But just for fun, I want to push it like this. It will have a bit different effect. So like that, and let's see, that's really cool. And now let's go out of these modes. Let's click here. But also there are keyboard shortcuts for that. So this and this. And now this seems a little bit strange. Yeah, and it should be. And also if we add another subdivision surface modifier with 1, it looks really crazy. It's not bad. Maybe this is your rocket design. Amazing. Stick with it and go and continue modeling with this. But I don't want like that. I want to go back and select some edges here. I want, see these here? You can uncheck in the viewport and the effect is not so visible. So I want to select these two and these two and these two and these two. And practically I want to add a crease, edge crease. So Shift E and just move. And here on the menu, just check it's one, perfect. And we go, when we go here, put it back. something happens that should not happen. See why? That's a normal. It's a 3D work. Let's go back. Yeah, I know. Okay, let's add a modifier, subdivision surface 1. Let's go here, select again this one. It's a 3D, normal that you have some issues. Nothing goes nicely, but don't worry. Okay, so let's go like this a little bit. Okay, perfect. Now let's select this. Go down, select again. I'm doing the same thing. Okay, shift, and let's see. I have no idea why this happened right now, but that's a normal thing to happen. So let's see. Yeah, I really don't have an idea why this happens. So let's undo. We will go without that detail. Now we don't have time to think about too much about that. I will see you later. Okay, so let's go back. This, I don't need it for what I want to achieve. I'm okay with this. So now that we have this, maybe I will add another subdivision surface modifier. And I want to add even more details. So how much time we have? Okay, we have a little bit more. I can add another cube. I can make the cube smaller, move it here. Go in the front view, move it here, make the cube bigger, add subdivision, the same like we made the rocket. We will make here a bit different. So also we want to put this here, and go right here at the bottom. We are making the engine similar shape, and I just want to pull this down, this part here, and shade smooth, maybe not satisfied. Okay, too much undos. Okay, now shade smooth. And yeah, maybe I didn't. Yeah, this is why I didn't switch to auto normals. Probably this is why I will see now on this one. So probably that's why this happens. Let's apply this. I mean, we cannot apply it in edit mode. So let's apply this. Probably it's because I didn't switch to auto normal. So we'll double check here. Let's go with this one, with this one, with this one. And we will do the same thing. So bevel. Okay, maybe like this. And then we can go and select the middle one, come on, the middle one. Okay, thank you. Middle one and the middle one, and quickly move it in like this, perfect. And then take these and crease it. And now if we go and add another subdivision here, subdivision surface 1, perfect. This is what I wanted to achieve. So that was the issue. I didn't go to normals and auto smooth normals. It's different things. Sometimes I forget to do this because I'm using usually a plugin that is doing automatically for me. So now I'm doing everything manually. So here we can do the same quickly. Come on, edge. Okay. Make this straight, and which edges I wanted. This, and this. Bevel it really quickly, like maybe even less, like this, and then go with the middle one, middle one, middle one, middle one, middle one, middle one. That's one song that reminded me, middle one. And the people from Serbia will know. Let's see how this will go. Hi, edge. edge, edge, and edge. And now let's add a crease. That's it. That's it. So this thing is making mess, but it's normal. Okay, now we have a rocket. We have an engine. We can put the engine somewhere here, and it's really cool. Now what I like to do is connect the engine to the rocket. Really simple, really easy. We can use a cube. Again, we can just create small cube, make it smaller, go back here, and I want to make cube even smaller here, and to put it somewhere here, go to the top view, make it narrow like this, and also I want to make I will isolate this to see just that, make this a little bit wider. Okay, go back, and now I want to extrude this. Press E to extrude, and then move it down. That axis, it's easier like this. And then E, extrude it again and move it down. And this will be enough details for what I want to achieve here. Also, I will add another subdivision here. There is a shortcut, Control 1 or 2, depends how many, or 3, how many subdivisions you want to add. And also I want to shade it smooth. And don't forget to auto smooth normals here. And go to edit mode and add these edge loops in order to have everything as it should be. Something like this, and also here, and also here. Perfect. And yeah, I like this shape. But also we can go to this mode and X-ray mode and go to vertices, and I can select this. Maybe, let's see. And I want to move this a little bit down, maybe this also a little bit down. We can create, the beauty of this is that we can create any kind of shape that we want for this. Maybe like this, and well, let's see what was the shape. The shape is not bad, but it's not ideal also. So maybe let's push this a little bit up. Maybe this can be nice. Maybe let's see. Not bad. Let's say we are happy with the shape. Perfect. And now what we want to do is to make copies of this 3 times. But before that, I want to create a window here. So window, circle for the window, rotate on the x-axis, and let's see, where is circle? Rotate 90 degrees on x-axis. Come on. Made a mess here. Circle. Yeah, this is it. I want to put it outside. Rocket, make it smaller, rotate it like this. And we have a window, really cool window that I want to make it even smaller. And also I want to extrude it at a depth like that. And here it is, a small window. But this small window needs to be projected on the rocket because we want to make it curve, to follow the curve of the rocket. So in order to do that, I will add another modifier, shrink wrap, and say projected on the rocket. It's really cool, but if you see it from the front view, it's deformed because we want project. And this looks cool. I will apply this. And now what I like to do here is to select all the faces and say extrude. And let me show you how this looks. Looks like this. Also, I will add subdivision, and I have a really nice smooth frame. I can change that shading to smooth, and also I can change the shape of the frame if I want more cubic. Maybe this is okay, but we can add these edge loops here and here, and maybe here and here. If you go all the way to the edge, it will be really, really like sharp, harsh edge. I don't want that. If you go a little bit less, then it will be more curved. So it depends how much you want to do this. Okay, so this looks really cool. And also what we can do is to add a glass. Let's put it in a little bit to add a window glass. So for that, we can add a sphere. So if we create just a sphere, it's in the middle of the rocket, but we want to be in the middle of the window. So how to do that? Really simple. See this cursor here? The 3D elements will be placed when you're creating new in the center of the cursor. So I want to put the center of the cursor in the center of selected objects. So cursor to active, it's right here, and then create UV sphere. And it's perfectly fine. It's here, make it smaller. We can rotate it maybe like this. Doesn't need to be so precise, but like that. And also I will create something like this for this purpose. It's fine for our composite, for our window here, not composite. And also I will add a little bit of subdivisions, a little bit of geometry, not to be so jagged. And this is perfect. And before I add additional engines, I just want to now add materials. So to make this rocket to colorize it practically. And this will be fun. I will go here to shader editor and select the rocket and select new. And we have some shape. It's the same like the shader here. We have some really cool things here that is too much of me explaining here why and what is this, but we have metallic properties, specular, roughness, and so on and so forth, and also the base color. And I want rocket to be like something like orangey. And that's perfect. We cannot see anything because we need to go here to the shading viewport in order to see it. And I also want to add metallic. And if we go with the roughness all the way back, it's not rough at all. It will be reflective, like really reflective metal, but we don't want so reflective, maybe something like this. Also, what I like to do here is to add additional material that I will create, and let's choose a little bit like grayish tone that will be less rough, but a lot of materials, metallic materials. And also I want to select all of this. And also I want to select all of this. For example, let's see how this will go. And I say, assign this material to these selections. And yeah, this is cool. This is cool. Why not? And then we can go with the roughness a little bit up, like that. Also, this window here can have the same material. We can rename material. This can be like orange metal. And here, the window can be glass. So for that, we are going to choose a glass shader. Perfect. Choose a little bit of bluish color. Why not? And leave it like that for now. Also, this window can be this gray. Why not? This is also cool. There are so many options. I don't know which one to choose. Also, this side of the rocket can be orange. This can be also orange, but with the difference that I want to do the same thing that I did with this big one, but with that difference that I will choose different portions. And gray material, assign, and looks really cool. And now I will make a copy of these guys right here in order to make our life easier and not model everything from the scratch. So, and also if I just made the copy before, I needed to apply the materials separately on each of them. And also let me show you really quickly, if I move now this, only this will move. But if I select window and glass, window and glass, and then a rocket and press Control P and parent it to the rocket. Now, if I move this, everything go with that. Also, if I select this and parent to the rocket, I can select both of that, but I want this to be parent. And if I move the rocket, that's crazy. And also if I select this and parent to this one, and now if I move this, this as a parent, this as a parent. It will be cool later. So now let's select these two and let's duplicate Shift D, then press Escape, then press R and 120 degrees. Perfect. Then again, Shift D, my nose, and then R and 120 degrees. Perfect. We have this. And now if we select only this, this, and this, rotate, that's great. We can rotate it however we want. So we have really cute rocket here that is done. It's really easy to model it. And now let me show you how you can combine this with Photoshop and the photo that we have. So I already prepared a photo in Photoshop, just random photo that I run into. And it's really nice photo. We need to see the aspect ratio is 1000 by 1250. So, no, I don't want that. I want Blender. So if I go here to the properties, I need to do the same, 1000 by 1250. Perfect. And if I go and create a new camera, not this plugin for creating cameras. I want a new camera here. And I want to move this back. And I can change the lens, focal length, so 50mm lens. The background, I'm not sure what focal length is, but let's say that this is a shot with 50mm lens approximately. We'll see if this will fit, but I think it will be okay. So this is it. And now we need to add some lights here. So let's go to render view, looks crazy. And let's go here and add the environment texture. I want to add exactly the same desert texture that I already showed you. So HDRI and desert. And this looks cool, but I don't want to see the rocks and all other things. So let's hide it like we did before, make it transparent. And also I want to add a plane here. So plane, make it bigger. And what I like to do here is to put the plane all the way down here. Like that. Okay, and go back to the camera. And now we need to match the perspective, the angle and everything, the lights with the perspective and the lights on the background. And beauty with 3D is that you can really easily do that. There are some plugins that you can match. If you don't know with which camera is this photo made, there is a plugin that you can draw some perspective lines and it will automatically find the focal length and match your camera with this perspective. I will not do this now. I will show you manual way really quickly. So basically, this is the camera. Every camera has the camera properties right here, and we can load a background image here if we want. We can just add, load it like that, or we can just drag and drop background image. So before that, I need to go and save this background image to background. Okay, I already have it. Okay, I already did it before this. So let's, oh yeah, it's here. It's another folder. So I can just drag and drop and voila, that's it. And I can move my camera according to this. So that's perfect. And now if I try to match this approximately like this, there is, I say, another way to do it properly, but also I want to add material to this. Let's go here, and I want to change the color to this color right there. This is really important because with Blender or any other 3D software, if you want to follow a realistic result, then you need to have everything. You need to think about the colors, because when the light bounces down on the surface, it reflects back and reflects that colors also back, and the brightness of the surface, and so on and so forth. So you want to have similar color of the surface like this. In case this is a blue, let me show you really quickly. So let's see, we are now in Eve, but if we go in the cycles, wow, already see the difference between Eevee and cycles. Eevee, real-time rendering, You can rotate this and do whatever you want and no issues at all. But cycles takes a little bit more of processing power, but much better results. See, this metal is really nice. Okay, let's go back. And if this is not that color, where are you? Here. It's blue. See how it's reflecting blue here. So this is why I want to have the proper color. Also, I want my shadow here, but I don't want to see this ground. So I can go here to the object properties and go to visibility and go make this shadow catcher. So only to catch the shadow, not to be visible. Amazing. Also, the shadow is not in a proper orientation. So what we need to do, let's bring this a little bit up. We need to go from object to world and Control T and add these nodes. And we should just rotate this. Dun, 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 like that. Also, the shadow needs to be much longer. See how long shadow is from the car. So let's make it longer. Let's fake it. Something like this, huh? What do you think? Is maybe even longer. A little bit. Like this. I will say that's approximately good. And if we are happy with this, we can just render it out and put it in Photoshop. So let me show you how to do that. So let's go here. And I want maximum samples to be really low because of this demonstration here. And I just need to press F12. And in a couple of seconds, because I have such a great machine, I have a laptop. So if you're doing this on the desktop with RTX NVIDIA graphic cards, like really great one, RTX 3080, 3090, or 4090, if you have a TI also, it will be even faster. It will be much better. This is really simple scene, but in complex scenes, this take a lot. So it's only took 9 seconds to load. I will go to image, save as, and save this as a PNG with alpha channel. That means it will save the transparent image with the shadow, and 8-bit is pretty much okay for this. And now let's go to the Photoshop. This is it. If I go to the folder, this is saved, not shaved, saved, and I put it here. See how easy it is to just put it there and we have it. That's it. Wherever we put it here in a Blender, we can easily have it in the same position in Photoshop. Also, let me show you really quickly. If we get this amazing 3D model here without sun, let's go here. So this amazing 3D model, I will copy it and bring it here, and I will paste it and also add it to new folder, new collection. Spaceship. Let's quickly hide this for a moment. Let's go back here. I want to select the rocket without ground. I want the rocket to be in a rocket collection in a separate folder, so I can really easily hide it. If I go back to render and go back to spaceship, perfect. But it's not perfect. I want this spaceship to be low on the ground. Also, I want this spaceship to be a lot smaller, to be more realistic, and down at the ground. Let's see. Okay, and now let's see the sides compared to the car. Pretty much okay. And let me show you. If we position this here, we already have the proper camera angle. We can move the spaceship wherever we want. So, for example, here. The context shadows are good. Everything is good. Let's render this. It will take a bit longer than 9 seconds, I think, because a little bit more reflections and different materials, etc. But let's see. 10 seconds, not too much. And this is like spaceship. And if we put this now, Photoshop, spaceship, where is it? It's right here. So if I just drag and drop, voila, it's amazing. I can go with our rocket. Let's move the rocket. There is a really cool technique to move it in perspective. move it here. So we have both the rocket and the spaceship. Maybe the spaceship is, let's save this. The spaceship is, not too much, just for fun. And amazing scene, really easy, the proper angle, proper lighting conditions, everything is cool. Also, you can continue adding a few other things. Let's go here. I already found some metal texture here. So copy this image and go back. And for example, for the rocket, we can go and paste this, clip it, affect only the rocket, make it a lot smaller. So let me show. You can also do this in Blender. You don't need to do it in Photoshop, but I'm just telling you the possibilities here. You can go to overlay, or we can go to multiply, whatever, depends on what you kind of effect you want to achieve. That's a different story. But the point here is that I'm using a mouse for the first time in Photoshop for a long time. Okay, so maybe I just want to get rid of it in the shadows a bit like this. And the point is that you can texturize it differently. If you don't know how to do it in 3D, just render it with the colors, and then you can add different textures, scratches, drawings, whatever you want. You can do it in Photoshop. Of course, if you know how to do it in 3D, then you should do there, because it's really easy and fun to do it. But with this, we are ending this demonstration of how you can enhance your photo manipulations with Blender. To summarize everything, you can create whatever you want in 3D, whatever you can imagine. You can create either some monsters or some environments or some sci-fi elements or whatever, and see how easy it's to implement it in your photo manipulation. So when I'm doing my YouTube tutorials and go, let's see, I think I have it on Instagram, and go to, okay, here. Oh, I made this in Blender a few days ago. In case you didn't say it. So you can make monsters, you can make cute things. This is just a short reel to show how easy it is to create a hair in Blender. Really simple. Just a few sliders here and there. There is already presets, and also with the new Blender, there is even easier hair system that is fun to use. And in a couple of seconds, you will see the final result. Here is, you can cone it, you can make hair longer, shorter, you can create any kind of hairstyle that you like, you can brush it, as you can see here. You can do whatever you want, add different materials, colors, and so on and so forth, and apply it to the whole body, and then animate it, and you have cute, nice product at the end. But that's not the point. Here, see, this is made in 3D. All these elements, again, this is a real, but let's find. Also this, I just place it over the top, really easy. This really easy in the 3D to make some. My brain is frozen. To make some composites. So this also really easy to create in 3D. So many things that you can do using Blenders, whatever you want. Let me find it, if it's here. Let's see this, for example. I had this. I had a photo of two of us in the studio, me and my friend, and then I created this quickly in 3D with all these things here, and I created the background in 3D and then take a photo of us in the studio, because it's much easier when you have all the lights ready for the background, the perspective for the background, everything, to replicate that in the studio with the models, and just bam, 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 put them together and have a final result there. So this is a cute rocket that it's not actually 3D. This is drawing, pure drawing, Photoshop. In case you want to learn how, check out my YouTube channel. There are so many great tutorials there. So you can learn a bunch of things. I cannot find the image that I wanted to find. Maybe it's not here, but no, it's not here. Definitely. Yeah, see, also this is a 3D. I made this cute robot, rigged it so you can easily move head, hands, wheels, whatever, and position it in any position you want, any pose you want. And the dragon is not made by me. but it's 3D model. I got it from the CG Trader that I show from here, from cgtrader.com. And there are a lot of great models, free and paid. Also, there are a lot of great paid models that are also not expensive, but are pretty decent. So you should check it out if you don't want to make your own models, but still want to learn 3D to be able to create something that's really cool. Okay, so that's it for now, guys. If you want to learn more, again, check out my YouTube channel. Maybe in the future I will do something with 3D too. We'll see. And any questions now, I will answer it. But before that, Vicente, do you want to have a word maybe? Or
Yes. Hi, Nemanja. Thank you. To everyone, the webinar is not ending right now. We're about to go into the Q&A section. But for those of you who will be leaving now, we just want to say thank you again to everyone for coming. Really fantastic to see again Nemanja bringing so much knowledge to us, and really now stepping into this world of 3D with Blender and seeing all the incredible possibilities that there are there to meld that with Photoshop, to meld that with this whole new world of creativity. I mean, just look at Nemanja's website and you can really see all the possibilities that you have in terms of creativity and imagination and bringing this all to life. And we'll have the you can now ask your questions in the bottom right in the Q&A section. We also have here the discount code that we've mentioned before that you can then use until the 25th of April. We also value your input here about how you enjoyed the webinar today. And beyond that, if you want to check out our upcoming webinars, we have here links to our upcoming webinars page where you can check that out. Definitely check out Nemanja's page if you're not yet subscribed to his fantastic YouTube channel. And you can see all of our offers with Pantone Connect Premium that you can get a free year subscription for that, along with the monitors as well. So with that out of the way, Nemanja, give it back to you, and we'll go into the Q&A section.
Thank you, Vicente. So I have only one question here for some reason. So guys, you have, there is another one coming. I will make this bigger just to be able to see it better because it's so tiny currently for me. Okay, so thank you all guys for these nice words that you put it here. But there is a question: how can you adjust the shadow in the composition? The shadow from the mountains is different than one from the rocket. Yeah, great question. Well, there are so many things that I didn't show here because of this would be forever. You can render the shadow separately from the model. That's an option too. So you can split these things, render separately, and then basically manipulate just the shadow in the Photoshop. So like you have two different objects, make shadows a bit brighter and make it to look like more like these shadows right there. So that's not the issue, just a little bit more work you need to do to separate these two together. Okay, that's a great question. Let's see another one. Give me a second. I would like to create 3D environments for portraits. I've shot in a studio. Any tips when putting the full body already taken photo into 3D environments in Blender? Okay, that's a great question. Well, you just need to make sure that the perspective is, let me show really quickly here. The perspective is right. You already know which camera you use to take a photo of a model, portrait photo, whatever, the full body photo. And then, am I sharing the screen or not? Are you seeing my screen?
At the moment, you're not, no. But
Okay.
you can share the screen now right now. We've gone into
Okay. Then I didn't show later before, but it doesn't matter. Nothing special. So give me a second. So you can see now my screen. Yeah. What I wanted to show you here is that you already know. I want to show you this. Already know the camera that you use. You already know the focal length. You already know the light setup. You just need to replicate that in the Blender. So to use the same camera in the Blender, because in Blender you have the settings for every single lens and a lot of presets for cameras, etc. But you can set full frame or APS-C and I don't know, whatever, different focal length, 50, 24, 25, 25.1, whatever you want. And then render this and put a model in. I'm showing you this photo because this is the 3D model, and I have a video about how to create this environment on YouTube. So basically what I did, I made this environment manually from one photo, but also it's the same principle. You have a model, you can extract the model out of the background just quickly. It doesn't need to be perfect, and save it as a transparent PNG file and put it in a camera's background, like I did with the background for my rocket. And then you can move the camera if you're unsure, move the camera, move the environment practically, and nail it perfectly. So hopefully this answers your question. Okay, let's see if there is another question here. Okay. There is one question from Jovana. I have no questions. I just wanted to say I really enjoy your webinars. You always make it so interesting. So thanks. Thank you, Jovana, so much. Hvala, hvala. Okay, no more questions. This is first time. What's going on? You're not shy. Come on, guys. If you have any questions, now is the time. Otherwise, we will end this webinar. And that means that everything is perfectly clear. For all you guys who stick here with me, I want to pull another poll here. So Vicente, please help. And I want to ask you, are you encouraged to learn 3D software, especially Blender, after watching this webinar? Would you like to learn it? Or maybe you find it too much interesting, yes or no? Too much heavy, yes or no? Let's see. Let's see the votes. Okay, few more moments and Vicente will publish the votes. I don't know how many people answered, but all of you answered yes. All of you who clicked, that's great. So follow me for more news. Maybe I will start teaching you actually 3D step by step, and maybe I will redo the rocket tutorial, but from scratch, step by step, with all the small details, etc. And who knows? We'll see. It will be. I will decide about that in next period, but I'm thinking about making something about that. So thank you, guys. One more time. There is another question here. It's in Serbian. Let me just read it. Gledam 3D modeli nam dosta olakšavaju crtanje senki i svetlih delova. Imaš li neki savjet za crtanje senki? Hello. Okay, the question is about drawing shadows and highlights. The question is like technically the 3D models make a much easier process of creating shadows and highlights. So do you have any tips of for drawing shadows and highlights? I have tutorial about drawing shadows and highlights, light painting on models, but you always while you're doing painting shadows and highlights on the models that doesn't have it, that you want to repaint, reshape what is not there, you should always think about how it would be in real life, and maybe take any kind of light from. It's not like any kind of light, because light from mobile phone is harsh, and if you have light from this direction, you will see probably how the light will fall. But if you have soft light like this huge octabox that I'm having here, the light is pretty equal and soft. They're not harsh shadows like I would have from example from this smaller light. Okay, so see, the shadows are a bit different here. So definitely you should watch, practice, experiment, look at a lot of references from internet, and eventually you will get it. It's the thing that you will nail it over the time. So let's see. That's what we are waiting for. Okay, so that's it. Thank you, guys. One more time. I don't see any more questions. Georgian, Nema na čemu. I don't see any more questions, and I wish you all a wonderful week, and see you back on the socials. Vicente, back to you.
Yeah, Nemanja, thank you again so much for the fantastic webinar, and to all of you, thank you so much for attending. As said, we have here all the links. We're going to be leaving this room open for a couple more minutes for all of you, but all of the information will be sent via email as well. And we have the discount code, as we already mentioned. And if you enjoyed today's webinar, as I can see that we're getting really fantastic feedback from all of you, on a very regular basis, we're hosting webinars with really captivating photographers and designers, people just like Nemanja that are really at the forefront of the industry, talking about all types of different subjects, photography, design, 3D software, as we looked at today, calibration. We have one about wedding photography coming up right now. Pretty much any topic that you can imagine that has to do with photography or design. We're always working with incredible people just like Nemanja. And yeah, just to say one last time, for those of you who have not yet checked out Nemanja's YouTube page, if you enjoyed today, then you're going to absolutely love Nemanja's page. It is just this massive database of information. And as you can see from Nemanja's fantastic energy today, you have that exact same amount of fun, exact same amount of fun and information that you have here on that page as well. So once again, thank you to everyone. Nemanja, thank you as well to you. And wishing everyone a lovely evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, BenQ. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wishing everyone a lovely evening then, and see you at the next one.
Good night.